Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack the stories, really get to the core of what you need to know. And today, well, we're diving deep into the Russia-Ukraine conflict. There have been some pretty seismic shifts lately.
Absolutely. Intense attacks and this looming U.S. peace deadline everyone's talking about.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive, using the Associated Press report you shared, is basically to distill the key insights. We want to help you understand not just what's happening, on the ground and diplomatically, but really why it's so crucial right now.
And what questions it raises for the future. Big questions.
Big questions indeed. Okay, let's dig into these recent attacks first, because the scale, it's quite jarring. The source material, it just throws us right into it, doesn't it? What happened overnight, Tuesday into Wednesday?
A major barrage.
Yeah, Russian weapons just pounded 4 Ukrainian cities, not minor stuff, at least 15 people injured, and the main target, energy infrastructure again.
A familiar target, unfortunately.
Oh, right. And the weaponry tells a story, too. Russia launched 400 shaky and decoy drones. Think about that number 400.
It's a huge number. The decoy's designed to confuse air defenses, letting the actual attack drones get through, plus a ballistic missile.
And the city's hit was widespread. Kharkiv in the northeast, that's Ukraine's second largest city.
Kryvyi, President Zelensky's hometown, in the center.
Vinnytsia in the west, and Odessa down south. So seeing this, like 400 drones, what does that signal about Russia's current strategy? And how's Ukraine taking this pattern?
Well, it's fascinating, like you said, the consistency. President Zelensky himself put it very plainly. He said, Russia does not change its strategy.
So no shift there, in his view?
None. He sees it as this persistent, brutal approach, aimed at degrading infrastructure, keeping up the pressure, and his response. He's called for a systemic strengthening of Ukraine's defense.
Makes sense.
Yeah, saying they need, and I'm quoting here, more air defense, more interceptors, and more resolve so that Russia feels our response.
More resolve.
It really underscores their assessment that, look, while their defenses are doing a lot, they need a serious boost to handle this kind of sustained assault.
That call for more defense ties right into the other big piece here, doesn't it? The timing. These attacks aren't happening in a vacuum. There's this ticking clock set by Washington.
The September 2nd deadline.
Yeah, set by U.S. President Donald Trump. The message to the Kremlin: reach a peace deal in this, 3-year war now, or face consequences.
And the consequences mentioned are potentially severe Washington sanctions.
So how does a deadline like that, with such explicit threats, how does that usually play out in a conflict like this, especially from the Kremlin side? Does it actually, push towards peace, or could it backfire?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because while it sounds straightforward, deadline equals peace cush, the reality, as the source notes, is it's packed with geopolitical complexity. You have some U.S. lawmakers, some European officials expressing, let's say, serious misgivings.
Okay, what kind of misgivings?
Their main worry is that this 50-day window, well, it might actually give Putin an opportunity to grab more Ukrainian territory before any potential settlement.
Ah, okay. An unintended consequence.
Potentially. And there's history here, right? Other U.S. ultimatums towards Putin recently, they haven't really worked. They haven't persuaded him to stop the invasion.
So past performance isn't exactly encouraging on that front?
Not really. And meanwhile, actual peace talks. There's no date even set publicly for a third round of direct Russia-Ukraine talks.
And the first 2 rounds didn't achieve much.
Frankly, no. Apart from some prisoner swaps, there wasn't really any progress reported.
So it really is a high-stakes gamble setting this deadline so publicly. But what's also really interesting is Trump's own stance, it seems to be shifting.
How so?
Well, just on Monday, he pledged more weapons for Ukraine, including those vital Patriot air defense systems.
The ones Zelensky has been asking for.
Exactly. And he also threatened more sanctions on Russia. The source actually calls this Trump's toughest stance toward Russian President Vladimir Putin since he returned to the White House nearly 6 months ago.
That is a notable shift, a more assertive posture, perhaps.
Yeah.
But connecting this back,
this
kind of pressure, even if it's welcomed by Kyiv, it really throws the devastating human cost of all this into sharp relief. It's just crucial to remember, behind the strategies, the deadlines, the drone strikes, real people are affected. Deeply.
Absolutely. And that's really where we need to turn next. Beyond the diplomacy, the strategic chess moves, what does this constant fighting, this deadlock actually mean for the people caught in it and for the, the long-term direction of the war? The human toll is, well, it's staggering. We know tens of thousands of soldiers have died, many along that huge front line, over 1,000 kilometers.
720 miles, yeah. A massive front.
And the civilians. The UN figures say Russian attacks on cities have killed more than 12,000 Ukrainian civilians. Just hard to comprehend.
It's a constant, brutal reality behind the headlines.
And thinking about that immense cost, it leads into this assessment from the Institute for the Study of War. It's a Washington think tank.
Right, ISW, what are they saying?
They talk about Putin's theory of victory. They suggest he believes Russia can win just by continuing to make these slow, creeping gains on the battlefield indefinitely.
They keep grinding.
Yeah, grinding it out and basically outlasting Western support for Ukraine and Ukraine's own ability to keep defending itself.
That's a chilling prospect. A long, drawn-out strategy.
It really is. So you take that theory of victory, you add the horrific human cost, you throw in the U.S. deadline. How does this whole debate about burden sharing among the allies fit into this really complex picture?
Yes, burden sharing. That definitely raises critical questions, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
About the sustainability of international support, especially if we're looking at a potentially indefinite war. And you see the tension in Trump's statement, the U.S. providing weapons, okay, but European countries are paying for them.
Right. That was a key line. How did that land?
Well, on one hand, relief from Ukraine and many in Europe. Relief that the U.S. is committing more weapons after months of some hesitation.
Okay, so relief first.
But there was also clearly a hope, maybe an expectation, that Washington would shoulder some of the cost too.
Not just facilitate the sale.
Exactly. The EU's foreign policy chief, Kaj Kanalas, she put it quite directly. She said, basically, we welcome the weapons announcement, but we'd like to see the U.S. share the burden.
And her point was?
Her point was, if we pay for these weapons, it's our support. It highlights this divergence in perspective, maybe priorities.
Interesting.
Yeah, understanding these undercurrents, these debates about who pays for what, it's crucial. It really points to the long-term economic and maybe political strain this war puts on alliances, even when they share the same broad goal.
This deep dive, it really shows how everything is connected, doesn't it? The fighting on the ground, the diplomatic pressure from Washington, the political shifts, these long-term strategic calculations.
It's all deeply intertwined.
And it highlights this constant tension, this push and pull between the immediate brutal conflict and that urgent but often just out of reach search for some kind of lasting peace.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for you as you process all this.
Yeah.
Given Russia's apparent theory of victory, this idea they can just outlast everyone, and considering the past ultimatums haven't really shifted Putin's course, what level of international pressure or maybe what kind of peace deal could actually change the direction of this war?
That's the core question, isn't it?
It is. And also, what does this whole debate about cost sharing, about who pays, really tell you about the future? About how resilient alliances might be in a war that just keeps dragging on, something to really mull over.